Well, grace, mercy, and peace be yours in rich abundance today as we worship the Lord and continue to wait for Him. My very first sermon here, if you can think all the way back just a little bit more than 1 year ago, I started off by telling you some advice that I received when I received the call here. And the advice that I received was Paul, just preach on the Gospels for the first year. Make sure that the people in your church know that you love the gospel, and make sure your people in your church know just how important the gospel is. So I took that pretty seriously, and I don't know if you've noticed that, but for the past 54 weeks, whatever it's been, 56 weeks, I've only preached on the gospel lesson. Well, it's been a year, and so I'm stepping out of that advice, and now I'm going to the next step, and I'm preaching on the second lesson, the epistle lesson, a letter. And the cool thing about these letters is they're super deep, and there's a lot there, and I've got like 7 or 8 verses to go through, but I think we're only going to talk about like 3 of them. But that's okay, because the Apostle Paul has a lot to say today about biblical patience, how to wait for the Lord. That second lesson, it's on page 10 of the service folder. I'll read that for you right now. Paul writes, "I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. For the creation waits in eager expectation for the children of God to be revealed. For the creation was subjected to frustration, not by its own choice, but by the will of the one who subjected it, in hope that the creation itself will be liberated from its bondage to decay and brought into the freedom and glory of the children of God. We know that the whole creation has been groaning, as in the pains of childbirth, right up to the present time. Not only so, but we ourselves, who have the first fruits of the Spirit, groan inwardly as we wait eagerly for our adoption to sonship, the redemption of our bodies. For in this hope we were saved. But hope that is seen is no hope at all. Who hopes for what they already have? But if we hope for what we do not yet have, we wait for it patiently." That's the word of the Lord. Waiting is hard, isn't it? To the kid waiting for his birthday, to the grown adult waiting at a stoplight behind somebody who just won't go, waiting is hard, isn't it? It feels like you're just stuck, not moving backward, not moving forward, just existing, just waiting. It's hard. I'm not much of an art guy, I guess, but I think that I saw this feeling, how hard waiting is. I saw it unintentionally depicted in four statues, 4 sculptures. I want to tell you about them. It was just a few years ago, maybe 4 years ago or so, a friend and I, we had the chance to travel to Italy. And so we hopped in a plane and we landed in Rome. And after a couple of days of exploring and seeing the Colosseum and checking out the cool streets and going and eating some of the amazing food, decided that we had seen everything we needed to see. So we jumped on a train and we went 2 hours north to Florence. Got off the train and we got our bearings and we looked around and we were looking for one specific building. And we asked around and we saw this real teeny tiny alleyway. It seemed kind of dark and kind of odd, and we didn't think anything could be down there, but all the locals said, yeah, that's where you need to go. And so we walked down, and this little alleyway houses, it's home to a very famous building. It's called the Galleria dell'Accademia. And the Galleria dell'Accademia is a famous building, not because of the building, but because of the sculptures that are inside. Most famous of which is Michelangelo's David. Can you picture it? That sculpture of David about to slay Goliath. Can you picture it? It's pristine. Amazing that it's been made by human hands. It's 17 feet tall. A big piece of marble carved out to look just like a man. Michelangelo's David. Can you picture it? He's got a slingshot draped over his left shoulder. He's got rocks in his right hand. He's looking with a calm face, ready to slay Goliath. Michelangelo's David. as you walk into the Galleria dell'Accademia, your eyes have to focus on the masterpiece in front of you. If you ever get the chance, though, if you ever get the chance to take a train from Rome to Florence, if you ever get the chance to find that little tiny alleyway and walk down it and walk into the prestigious Galleria dell'Accademia, and if you ever get the chance to see the statue of David, make sure you turn to your left and you turn to your right and you look to the statues that are waiting. On the left and on the right are 4 statues, also by Michelangelo. But they're seemingly unfinished. They're called the 4 prisoners, or the 4 slaves. In one, you see a half-carved out body, seemingly asleep, about to wake up, but he can't because he's encased in marble. You turn to your right and you see a body that's 80% carved out, but a right hand is stuck in stone, and a boulder encases his head, the Atlas stone weighing him down. You see bodies that seem to be ready to go spring forth with life, but they're stuck. It's almost as if they're waiting for the great Michelangelo to come back with hammer and chisel and break them out of the stone. I'm not much of an art guy, but I think that this feeling of waiting, stuck, was unintentionally put into these sculptures. Okay, what in the world does that have to do with Romans chapter 8? In Romans chapter 8, the Apostle Paul said things like this. He said, all creation eagerly awaits for the sons of God to be revealed. Did you catch that? All creation is waiting, almost as if all creation's left arm is stuck in stone, waiting for the master sculptor to come with hammer and chisel and break creation free. But even more than that, the Apostle Paul continues. He said, even so that all creation waits, we ourselves also groan inwardly as we wait for the redemption of our bodies, the adoption to sonship. It's not just creation. It's not just everything that God has created, the heavens and the earth and all that's in them, that's waiting, that's hoping, that's wanting the master sculptor to come back and free creation of the frustration that it's subjected to, even us. We wait and groan inwardly, hoping that the master sculptor, the creator, will come back with hammer and chisel and break us free of the lump of marble holding us down. You know what that is? We're hoping and we're waiting for that final day when we can fully enjoy completely glorified bodies, perfected bodies, and we can live in eternity with the Lord. Right now, it's a period of waiting. And waiting is hard. The thing is, though, the Apostle Paul in Romans 8, he doesn't just leave us there. He gives some advice, he gives some guidance, and his big theme is this. He says, wait simply patiently for the thing you hope for. Just wait patiently for that day when you will be removed from this world of sin and this body of death. Just wait patiently. But then the Apostle Paul gives a little bit more guidance. He tells us exactly how. He says, wait patiently for what you hope for, not comparing. Don't compare your present situation with the glory that will be revealed in you. And then he says, wait patiently for what you hope for, not seeing. You won't see that glory that will be revealed in you. And so we're going to look at those two things today. How does that guidance guide our lives as we wait patiently? We have this biblical patience. The first one, wait patiently for what you hope for without comparing. It's in, I think, verse 18 that the Apostle Paul talks about this, and he says something like this. He says, I consider our present sufferings not worth comparing to the future glory that will be revealed in us? Can I put that a different way? The picture here that the Apostle Paul is trying to get across sounds a little bit like this. If he were to say, I count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I count our present sufferings as of not equal value to the future glory that will be revealed in us. Paul can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 present sufferings, and he can count the future glory that will be revealed in you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and he can keep going, and he says, whoa, these two things are of not equal value. Let me put that a different way. I have a get-rich-quick scheme for me, but unfortunately that means it's a get-poor-quick scheme for you. Okay, but just hear me out. Just hear me out. Let's see if we'll go for this. My get-rich-quick scheme is that we're going to do a simple thing. It's simple. We're just going to trade paper. Sounds easy. I'll give you some paper. You can give me some back. And you might be thinking, okay, Pastor, I don't understand how you're going to get rich off of that. Well, don't think about that. Just think about how simple it is, right? I'll give you paper, and you give me paper back. No big deal. The thing about my paper is that it's green, and it's got a little 1 on it. And I guess the paper that I'm asking in return it's also green. But if it could just maybe have like a 5 or a 10 or a 20 on it, that'd be great. But don't think about that. Don't think about that. Just think about the fact we're just trading paper, right? Do you like my get-rich-quick scheme? I know what would happen if I tried that. You'd say, Pastor, I can count. 1. Pastor, I can count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Pastor, I count that what you have is not of equal value to what I have. It's actually of no value at all. You and I like to hold out our present sufferings in my own heart, to the world, and to God, and we think we can count. Sickness, trouble, anxiety, a torn world, financial troubles. God, I can count. Future glory. Sin, trouble, selfishness, distress, anxiety. God, I can count. Future glory. You and I have this amazing ability to see our present sufferings that we're in right now as the only thing of value in our life. We're real bad at math, the most basic of it. Simple counting. Thankfully, we've got the Apostle Paul sitting on the sideline, a math teacher, and he counts for us. He says, your present sufferings, those are of no value to the future glory that will be revealed in you. Let me put this in the Apostle Paul's terms. I don't know a whole lot about childbirth. I know next to nothing about it. I shouldn't know anything about it. But from what I know, from the little bit that I know, carrying a child and giving birth to a child is the most uncomfortable and painful thing that a human body can do. That's a little bit I know about it. So to any of you out there, do you think any mothers would compare the discomfort and the pain of carrying a child for 9 months and giving birth? Would they compare that to the joy they have of bringing a brand new baby into the world and holding that baby for the first time? I don't know of many mothers that would. Would many mothers compare the discomfort and the pain of carrying a child and giving birth to the child, of a lifetime of being able to live with that child and see them grow and succeed and maybe even become a Christian? I don't know of many mothers that would. You know, I'm not the first person to use an illustration like this. Jesus did. In John chapter 16, Jesus said, a woman giving birth to a child has pain because her time has come. But when her baby is born, she forgets the anguish because of her joy that a child is born into the world, present sufferings are of no value compared to the future. I'm not the first person to use that illustration. Jesus came up with it, and I think the Apostle Paul leans on it today. Because in the lesson that we have, the second paragraph, Apostle Paul says something like this. He says, "For we know that all creation groans as if in childbirth." Right now, the period that we are in is like the birth pains. Any suffering that you and I might feel is nothing compared to the future glory that will be revealed in you. And so the Apostle Paul says, right now as you live, wait patiently for what you hope for. Wait patiently for the Lord, the master sculptor, to come back with hammer and chisel out of this sinful world you and I, so that the future glory, the David revealed inside of you, will be revealed to the world. Wait patiently for what you hope for, not comparing present sufferings to the future glory. Second thing that the Apostle Paul says, the second little bit of guidance that he gives you and me, he says, wait patiently for what you hope for, not seeing. Sometimes when I ask questions in preaching, I get a little bit lost. I ask the question, and there's a big pause, and then I get some answers back. And so I just want to clarify. I'm about to ask a couple questions, and I'm expecting answers in your head. I don't necessarily need it back, all right? So just think I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and get me an answer in your head. Do you hope for your 6th birthday? I don't think anybody here does. You know why? You've already had it. You've seen your 6th birthday come and go. Second question. Do you hope to buy your first car? Maybe a few of you, right? Maybe you're thinking, oh, I hope it's like an 8-cylinder Mustang and not that beater GeoPrism that Pastor Spouty had as his first car. But most of you have already bought your first car. You've already seen it. It's come and go. It's probably like my 1994 GeoPrism crushed in a junkyard somewhere. You don't hope for that anymore because you've already seen it. It's already happened. But it was a good thing. 6th birthday, new car. Third question, it's a series of questions. Do you hope that Jesus will come and live perfectly? Do you hope that Jesus will come and fulfill every command of God? Do you hope that Jesus will come and live perfectly and fulfill every command of God and then die on a cross? Do you hope that he'll die on the cross and you're just hoping that he's going to forgive your sin, and you're just hoping that he's going to rise from the dead? You're just hoping that. You don't hope that anymore because it's already happened. You don't hope that anymore because hope has been replaced with faith. You don't hope that anymore because you've seen Jesus live, you've seen him die, you've seen him rise through the words of the Bible and through preaching and teaching, and you know that your sins are forgiven. You don't hope of this anymore because in that hope, we were saved. That's what the Apostle Paul says in verse 24. In this hope, we were saved. In the hope that Jesus would come and would live and would die, they were saved. And we already are saved. So the Apostle Paul is saying, well, you don't hope for what you've already seen. You already have it. But now, we hope for what we do not see. And for what we do not see and what we know is coming is that future glory will be revealed in you and I. Maybe I can use one more illustration to illustrate how. If you ever do get the chance to go to Florence, and if you ever do get the chance to walk down a small alleyway, and if you ever do get the chance to go to the Galleria dell'Accademia and see the statue of David, as you stand there, I want you to think. Does the statue of David long and hope to be carved out of marble like the slaves and prisoners. It's already happened. He doesn't need that to happen again. But you know, one thing about the statue of David, he doesn't walk around with flesh and blood like you and me. As great of an artist as Michelangelo was, he wasn't able to recreate humans. The statue of David has a long way to go. As you walk around in this world hoping for the Lord to come back again, do you hope that the Lord will chisel you out of sin? No, you already know that has happened, but you and I still have a ways to go. We're still waiting for the Lord to come back and to finish his work. We're still waiting for the Lord to come back and restore this world to its former glory in perfection. And we know, since our first hope has been removed, we know that since Jesus has come and has lived and has died, that he will come again. Patiently wait for what you hope for. Don't compare present sufferings to future glory. And patiently wait for what you hope for, not seeing that future glory, at least not yet. Amen.